When YouTuber Kane made his first Backrooms video back in January of 2022, many other people wanted to hop onto the trend and throw their hat in the ring. It started off very, but as the trend began to die down, only actual fans of the series got left behind, and therefore it was time for some genuinely good videos to be uploaded, all attempting to take place within Kane's continuity. Today, I'd like to highlight some of my favorite channels within this genre, starting off with Reverse's journey into the complex started off with a basic amateur found footage. It was a three-parter, and although it was obviously still good, nothing truly made it stand out from the rest. It follows a kid who falls into the complex, and after a bit gets chased around by a life form, as per the norm. He then finds himself right at the outpost that Async built, but unfortunately the life form catches him and he has to run away from the threshold, sadly. Luckily though, after a while, he does actually make it back to an Async area, and one of the employees guides him back to the threshold. Yippee. Like I said, it's a very basic story that works time and time again. I'd also like to say that the third video just being called Found is very funny. I also like that Async puts up the note on the wall to follow the tape. That actually feels like something they'd do, and I just find it really nice for whatever reason. The next video, however, which is also still a found footage, is much better. It starts with the camera falling in, and our protagonist wanders around for the complex for a bit, just like usual. But then he hears a very familiar sound.
Hello?
He heads towards the sound like a low-budget Marvin, and sees a room nearly identical to the one that Marvin found. He looks down the hallway and sees the same Pitfall's life form that Marvin did, which is pretty cool to see some actual life form continuity. He runs away from Marvin's friend and actually does manage to outrun it. He makes it to another area before once again meeting up with the life form. He runs into an area similar to that of the pool rooms and gets cornered and dies. This video is just generally much better. It has a much better plot despite only being a single video. The next video Reverse made is another found footage. The thing that makes this one interesting is that he somehow manages to predict the eldest few in a way. It starts off with a female monologuing about Async and all the damage they have done to this world by opening the threshold. She also notes how lifeforms do exist within the complex, but still says that Async will continue the project despite the danger. We then see a team of people exploring room 14C, the dark room, and the camera falls from the ceiling. We then cut to the footage that is actually on the camera. The protagonist talks about how his neighbors have been complaining about stuff disappearing in thin air overnight, and to see if they're lying or not, he puts a bike where stuff would disappear, and when he checks up on it next morning, the bike is gone. He's reasonably confused and walks forward and falls, of course, into the complex. He starts off in a found footage 2 style area with a lot of strange indents on the walls. He then comes across a den that someone else made, and on the wall are etchings about some kind of statue in the complex that spies on people. He disregards this, however, and moves on. Later, though, he finds the statue that the notes were talking about, and his only comment is just He jumps a gap into the basic yellow wallpaper area and walks around a bit. When he turns a corner, however, the statue from earlier is right on the other side. He walks past it and finds another den, this time displaying a map on the wall of the area nearby, and it's illuminated by a flashlight. It's worth noting that since the flashlight is on, that means it hasn't run out of batteries yet, which means that someone was there very recently to just turn it on. He turns around and sees some more maps, even featuring Marvin's friend. It's very clear that Reverse likes Marvin's friend, as this is the second video to feature him. There's also writings on the wall that reads, "Help, help, 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 hell," which is pretty neat. He walks down some more rooms and finds himself in an office building-like area with paintings and chairs. We see the protagonist walk down the rooms before seeing an exit sign on the wall. Being a protagonist in a Backrooms video, he follows it, but just finds out there are more rooms on the other side. These rooms have a very dilapidated look, similar to that of the still life rooms from Found Footage 3, and just look generally much more unstable than other areas. He comes across the statue again and walks by it, but after turning his back, the statue comes off of the nook it was on and begins rolling at him. He runs into another pool rooms area, and we get the sheer speed of the statue. Unfortunately, our protagonist cannot run away fast enough, and he presumably gets run over by the statue. I don't know. It's left very vague on how the statue can actually do harm. The camera, however, of course, no clips into room 14C, where the research crew from the beginning of the video finds it. After making this sheer peak, Reverse would take an extended break of over a year, then to come back with another two-parter. We see a man named Connor showing that a null zone has just miraculously appeared in his new apartment, and he begins to wander around the complex. But then the battery runs out of power, and he needs to go back to standard. We then see a conversation in the next video between Connor and his friend Dave. Connor says that the wall in his house leads straight to the complex. Dave at first doesn't believe him, but then starts to realize that Connor is most likely telling the truth. Dave says that he is out of town for a bit and just tells Connor to record some more footage of the complex. We see Connor demonstrating a chair in the null zone and how it seamlessly passes through the wall. He then explains how he brought a lamp out of the complex and shows how it will not fall apart or shatter no matter how hard he hits it against the wall. We then see a tape of Connor going through the null zone, and he explains that he started to lay down tapes on the floor to make sure he doesn't get lost, which is really smart, and more people should have done that. He walks around a bit and finds an absolutely huge pit on the floor, which is a reference to the whole Billy the Robot Backrooms string from a while ago. I could make a whole video about that was a really strange event. He then comes across a room with a lot of road signs coming out of the floor, including this one with a creepy face. He walks to a window showing a red exterior setting, similar to that of the red neighborhood in the red city. He walks back, and in the room with a big hole, he hears some sort of clattering noise nearby. He calls out to see if anyone's there, and then the video ends. Oh. Reverse then took another extended break from YouTube to work on a Gary's mod map of all things, named GM_BR_Fallen. It's a very good map, and I recommend checking it out for yourselves. It contains various different nods in the Backrooms community. And that's where it stands today. As of writing this, Reverse is working on updating Fallen, and it looks like he's probably taking a break from making backroom videos on YouTube for now. Spectre is actually more focused on FNAF VHS content rather than Backrooms, and although I might make a FNAF VHS video featuring his stuff, I will say that Backroom Stalker is definitely his magnum opus. The video begins with a view of planes flying across a landscape, before seeing a boss man look out of a window of the building, then walking away. We hear him talking that this meeting is confidential, and he thanks everyone for coming. We see 4 people sit down in chairs, and he begins to explain that recently, something strange has happened in a classified facility, obviously async. We then see footage of async workers wandering the complex, talking about the upcoming presentation at the Department of Energy, before they all fall down a null zone out of nowhere. The boss then talks about the precautions of this mission, such as the area of the complex they're going to go to and the safety gear that they are going to wear. He explains that the main goal of the mission is to get down to the bottom of the pit and to safely bring the researchers back out. A man named Hudson asks why they can't even know what they're up against, because why bring weapons if there's nothing at stake? The boss just disregards this and states that there is stuff on this mission that even he doesn't know about. Supposedly, the crew survived the fall and have been making occasional contact with Standard, although it's been radio silence as of late. He also says that there is a beacon in one of the researchers' briefcases down there, so the soldiers will know when they're getting close. All this leads up to Jackson asking him where they even are going, to which we cut to found footage. Just for context, this is Hudson, this is Miller, this is Shannon, and this is Jackson, the cameraman. Jackson talks to Miller about how the camera they gave him can mount to his helmet, so he can have both hands free, forcing the 4 of them at a big blast door in the Threshold outpost. An async employee greets them and tells them to follow him to the car. He says not to follow any voices if you hear any, as a researcher recently followed them and he hasn't been doing too good, obviously referring to Peter Tench. Jackson asks if these voices appear often, to which the employee says they don't really happen, but he'd be lying if they said they weren't any voices at all. He then goes on to say that based on the fact they are armed with weaponry, they most likely know about their little friend downstairs, obviously referring to Marvin's friend. Hudson says they weren't informed as of the life form, to which the employee says they shouldn't really be worried, as Marvin's friend is down 14th Division, which is nowhere near where they're going. They drive the golf cart down to the correct tunnel and hop off when it's time. As they're walking down, the crew talks about what kind of places could be used for, and Shannon suggests it could be used for housing or storage of some kind. Hudson finds this very confusing, as this is a completely foreign environment, and when Miller asks why he's so scared, Hudson says that he is honestly surprised that they aren't. Hudson is also concerned why so much information was withheld from them, until Miller says they're close to the beacon. He puts his hands on the floor for a bit, and then out of nowhere, he clips through the floor and marks where the drop-off point is. They test how whole the deep is using a glow stick, which falls down for a solid 4 seconds. Jackson is really concerned if the crew even survive, but regardless, they set up abseiling lines, and they also tie a camera to a rope to see what it's like at the bottom of the hole. And it turns out there's some sort of sewage tunnel system down there. They pull it back up and begin to dive down into the abyss, with Hudson staying at the top in case anything goes wrong. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. They descend to the bottom of the hole and begin exploring the tunnels down there, hoping to find any of the researchers. While deciding which tunnel to go down, Jackson realizes there's blood down the tunnel to the right. Shannon gets worried as there's not meant to be this much blood. The beacon they're following says they need to go right, but the trail of blood says to go left, so the three soldiers split up, with Jackson and Miller going to the right and Shannon going left. Very quickly, however, Jackson actually finds the beacon, but the team is nowhere to be found. Shannon then calls in on the radio, telling Miller and Jackson to come take a look at something. We see an incredibly mangled hazmat suit from one of the old researchers. It looks all tattered and torn apart, and the visor is completely shattered. Right as they're talking about why they'd get out of the suit like this, one of the researchers appears out of nowhere, and she begins talking to the crew about how everyone is very injured and they need help right now. Just as they're about to go and follow her, however, Jackson notices something odd.
Whoa, guys, hold up.
What? What the fuck do you mean, hold up? They need our help.
Something's not right about this. Ma'am, what's your name?
Grace. Grace Williams.
Miller?
What?
She's not moving her mouth.
The crew converse about how that's even possible, before the corpse drops to the floor and some sort of four-legged lifeform screeches at them. Just for further context, this guy's name is the Stalker. The whole crew begins open fire on the Stalker, but in response, it throws some sort of sharp dart object at Miller, pounces onto him, and begins tearing his body apart. Shannon attempts to shoot it, but the skeletal structure is just too hard to aim at, and she ultimately gets impaled and thrown against the wall. She screams at the top of her lungs, telling Jackson to run away. Jackson does eventually make it to the hole of the bottom and clips into the device, raising up the hole. Eventually, however, it gets stuck, and he just decides to try and climb up the rope instead. The Stalker gets very close to Jackson, but he does eventually manage to get Hudson's attention, and he runs over to Jackson to pull him out. The Stalker screams, and we get a good look at its face here. The way its jaw moves is absolutely terrifying, and I'm not too sure how it doesn't fall off the entire body after doing that. It begins tugging at Jackson's legs, and he pleads Hudson to just let go. Hudson, instead of letting him go, however, grabs Jackson's gun and shoots the Stalker head-on, causing it to fall all the way back to the bottom of the pit. Jackson gets pulled up and gets rested down on the floor. Hudson tells him to explain what's going on, to which Jackson mistakenly says that the whole thing was a trap. He says that Shannon and Miller are dead, and Hudson reports on everyone's deaths and what happened down there. He throws his helmet against the wall in a fit of rage, and then turns off the camera after realizing it's still rolling. Good God. That was one of my favorite Backrooms videos of all time. I mean, I know I sound like a broken record saying that, but this one actually deserves it. Currently, Spectre isn't really working on anything, but I think he deserves a break, because this video is just absolutely insane. Once again, Paul has actually commented on one of my videos. That's pretty cool. Paul's venture into the complex began with Backrooms' endless hallway. I'm gonna play the whole video, as an analysis wouldn't do it justice. I feel like the plot twist that it was a hallucination all along was terrifying, and the shaders truly brought this video to life, especially at the 259 millisecond mark. That was insane. Jokes aside, the next video is a typical found footage, this time taking a lot of inspiration from Kane's found footage one. It's only a minute long and shows analysis of footage showing arrows on the walls, eventually zooming into a lifeform. Once again, very amateur. Then got a short video testing out how async could be utilized. Once again, this video is nothing special, but it was followed up with a tap. It shows motion capture footage of lateral division, eventually showing that a lifeform is nearby the threshold. They close it in worry, but it manages to fully knock down the threshold, along with a metal pipe sound effect. We then see text saying that Mark Bloom actually shot the lifeform with the shotgun from Reunion, but some glitched text at the end says that it's still alive. The video then ends. After that, a POV of Peter transfer is made. It begins with footage showing Peter running through lateral division and into the informational video branch. After coming across a dead end, Peter instead decides to go into 14th Division and goes down into room 14C. It's shown that the lights are still on, and we then get a bit of a montage of Peter exploring 14th Division. We see the map that he made in Reunion before we see some growth in green light. We then hear Team B talk about Peter's map, and then of course Peter ambushes them and shoots Mark. Now, I know Paul's videos have been quite boring so far, but worry not, as the next videos are actually going to be good. No offense to Paul, obviously. The next video, although not canon now, is very solid. It shows the process of turning the room that Marvin fell down, 14D22A, into a second outpost for research. It begins with a view of the threshold and then entering 14th Division. We see the walkway beginning in construction, and we see two researchers at the bottom of the pit. They survey the surrounding area, and we then get a montage of the room slowly being turned into an outpost. We then see a staircase to where the entrance to room 14D would be, and we discover that they completely demolished a huge chunk of the complex for this staircase to be built. I will say the premise of this video is very neat, but I don't think Async would go to the extent of demolishing a whole room just to build a staircase and ladder. After this video, we would get the best video yet, being Backrooms Danger. The video begins with a security camera footage of something entering lateral division, and then we cut to footage of someone observing the security cameras before looking forward and seeing an oddly dark sector. We see footage of a rover moving forward, and it's revealed that the area is actually a nest, showing that the thing wandering around the security cameras was a life form. We then get a security camera footage of 3 workers walking towards the nest. We then see that it's actually already a bit bigger than when the rover is at it, showing that this life form is growing exponentially fast. We then get a montage showing Async building walls around the nest and setting up cameras inside it to monitor if the life form reawakens. We then get a compilation of the status of the nest over the next few days, and we see the nest itself get drastically bigger. We zoom into the restricted area sign, and then for a split second hear the outpost alarm, showing that the life form got out. The next video planned for production was Backrooms Attack. If that sounds familiar, that's because this video is actually a remake of the original Attack, and this video is so much better, without a doubt. However, that video already took a long time to come out. So, in the meantime, Paul made a shorter video called Backrooms Incident Report. The video begins with a zoom in into a VHS TV overlooking the threshold, before seeing footage of someone exploring the same gallery areas from found footage 1. We see a teeny tiny chair, and then our cameraman walks through a door and into another one of the chasm tunnels. He, instead of looking through the chasm, walks backwards and into another door, and we see that behind it is an area that looks eerily like the Async offices. The video then cuts out, and we fade back into the VHS TV from the beginning. We hear a voice explaining that this camera fell out of the roof of room 2C recently, and was analyzed, and the researchers don't know what to make of it. It ends saying an expedition to room 2C is scheduled for March 27th. After this video came out, we finally got the remake of Backrooms Attack, and this is one of the best fan-made videos I've ever seen. The video takes place around the events of Danger, and it starts off with a view of some leaves, before seeing the outpost in the complex, with a voice saying, "It's gone." What it is not known of yet. We see people suiting up to enter the complex before hopping onto the golf cart and driving to a nearby room. The researchers talk about if the lifeform that built the nest has moved yet, but apparently the Team A is just reinforcing the walls. I sure do hope one of the walls don't fall down. That would truly be a bad event, wouldn't it? They then talk about if Mark survived Peter's gunshot, and apparently he is in critical condition, but he should survive. So that's good. We then see the room that has the corpse from missing persons, and we see the crew set up equipment. The rover goes down one of the holes above the corpse, and after traversing the environment, it comes across to a dead end, with a dirty wall that it can't scale. We cut back to see the other team with the nest, and that they accidentally knocked down one of the walls. Good job. Really great job. Cut back to the other team, and we hear them report that the lifeform is on the move, and the threshold will be closing in 15 minutes. They hurry back to the threshold, but unfortunately, the cameraman, whose name is Tyrell, doesn't make it through in time, and gets stuck in the outpost. Luckily, the lifeform is outside the outpost, so they can just open the threshold back up without having to worry about the lifeform getting out. Then see footage of people wandering around Async offices, trying to not get caught by the lifeform. We see a big blast door close, and then a presentation about the events that just occurred. Everything I just said is basically explained here, but it is said that the lifeform got trapped in a room. Although there were no security cameras in there, they opened the doors up, but it turned out the lifeform had escaped Async through escaping through the ceiling tiles, and it is now outside. It's also completely glossed over the fact that there are multiple lifeforms in the nest, and the current whereabouts of the lifeform are unknown. So yeah, that was the best video Paul made yet. As of writing this, Paul is working on the next video, Backrooms Intruder, which is going to be about the life form breaking into various people's houses in Standard, and it looks very good so far. However, we have in fact gotten 2 shorter videos, focusing around a specific anomaly that we haven't really gotten an explanation for yet. Backrooms Shifting is a relatively simple video. Its main goal is to just show us what's on the other branch of room 14B, to the left. We see some basic rooms, specifically with some extra exposed floors. It then ends with a dead end in the same gallery area from that scrapped Kane video. There are also some fun Severance references, but this video isn't really much. The next video is Backrooms The Light, which of course focuses on the green light, which is something that hasn't really had an explanation yet, so it's going to be interesting to see how this video handles it. We see a fade-out view from the new 14B branch before seeing a cameraman walk around the rooms. He turns the corner and sees another employee witnessing the green light in front of his eyes. Right as the reflection is about to merge with his head, we cut to a view of the threshold. We walk down lateral division towards 14th division, and we see that out of nowhere, a new area has appeared where the researcher was, confirming that the green light is the force that expands the complex. We walk around a bit in this new area before seeing security camera reels of cameras set up in the new area. We see the green light return once more, and we see footage of a new area beyond that crooked tunnel. Paul's journey is really cool, and the massive quality change between attack and outpost cannot be understated. It's truly quite the surprise. Now onto some of the most intense videos we'll look at today. Happy Egg has a total of 2 genuinely good Backrooms videos as of writing this, with a 3rd and 4th one on the way. His YouTube journey began with this video, The Oldest View, Tokyo Drift. After making this, he worked on a Rec Room recreation of The Oldest View for a little bit, then discontinued work on the game, and then made the iconic 38-minute long found footage video Chasm, and it is one of my favorite Backrooms videos we're going to talk about today. I mean, you showed me the found footage one Chasm in the Red City, and I'm gonna like this video. Backrooms Chasm begins with the async logo, with a text, a full review of today's incident. We then cut to found footage, where a man is talking about something, I don't know, the audio quality is too low.
Should do those videos last night where people were walking in and out of the fucking...
He then, of course, no-clips into the complex, however in a very interesting way. We see this camera fall down this huge tunnel, full of hallways from the chasm from found footage 1. This visual is so cool, and it just feels like a great way to start this video off. We then see the cameraman no-clip back into a basic office-style room. The cameraman picks up the camera, and it's not made clear if he took any damage from the fall. He walks around, seeing a projector displaying a no-signal screen. We then see that he is wandering around the art gallery rooms from found footage 1, but with some office areas intertwined within. He walks up to another projector, then the lights begin to flicker, and the projector picks up some imagery for a few frames. There's a lot of text on these images, and it all looks very complex core. The text I can decipher reads the following: The Corny-Oops Lemon, Cocoa Chum Water, Lagoon, 24, It Has Always Been Here, Season, enter @ hashtag carrot exclamation mark, over, exit, message. I have absolutely no clue what any of these words could mean. It then goes back to the no signal screen, before the no signal banner gets torn away with a PowerPoint presentation transition, and we see the text, hello. Okay. We then hear some weird printer sounds that sound a lot like a threshold opening before seeing the printer, and room goes back to normal, and the cameraman walks away. After a little bit longer, we see some text on the stand that reads, You have arrived, we have been waiting for you, you may be field watched, that is because you are, do not run, there is nowhere to go, do not struggle, it only makes things worse, it has always been here, 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 along with the async logo. I think it's safe to say that this is the Complex's attempt at making an infographic similar to that of async. After walking around the same gallery room with office structures, we hear a very familiar sound. Our cameraman walks towards the familiar chasm, and once again, we see the sheer scale of this place. The camera looks around the huge structure before seeing some sort of bright light emanating from each tunnel. The light eventually reaches the tunnel adjacent to the cameraman, and immense white light flashes the hallway repeatedly with white lightning strikes. We also see text saying that the audio has been suppressed, saying that this must have been incredibly loud. The cameraman runs away as fast as he can, and he looks behind him and sees a lightning strike that launch a dumpster back against the wall with immense force. The audio then gets unmuted, and it sounds like, for lack of a better term, what it sounds inside a popcorn bag while it's being popped. After some more walking, we come across a long strip of doors, and after going up some stairs, we see that our protagonist has found himself in the infamous 188 hotel from Found Footage 1. He looks down and sees a huge pit lined with the windows, similar to the pit from the beginning of the video lined with the tunnels. After walking up some more stairs, our cameraman spots a vent on the wall with an exit sign. We then see a sign on the floor showing Holiday Inn Express. I searched this place up, but it just appears to be a basic hotel that appears every now and then. So it's strange that the complex decided to recreate this hotel sign specifically, and not anything related to the actual location the liminal hotel photo was taken in. After some more walking, we come across another Holiday Inn Express sign, and then we walk towards Dead End with a sign saying Crown Plaza. Once again, I searched this up, and this just seems to be a place, no relation to the complex. We then hear a strange beat coming nearby, and we walk towards the hotel, and see that it is coming out of speakers nearby, similar to that of Gas Stove. I will admit, this tune is pretty funky, but nothing can beat Gas Stove. That's just such a bop. Our cameraman walks around the floor of the building, and to get to an exit vent from up the top, uses a sky gauntlet to attempt to use a pulley system to make his way up. It begins lifting him up, but then, out of nowhere, a still life appears and attempts to get to the sky gondola. Being very smart, however, our protagonist just decides to... I gotta hand it to this guy. Not many wanderers just straight up kill the life forms. More people should do that. After killing the still life, the lights turn back on, and the cameraman climbs into the vent. He finds himself in some even more office areas and wanders around even more, before hearing a very familiar sound. We see some hay bacillus growth on the floor, and we get a good close-up of the material that the life form's made out of. We even see it growing at a visually fast pace. Luckily, the life form is asleep, so the cameraman runs away before he can do anything wrong. He walks around some Severance-styled offices before seeing... This is actually insane. I love how we have a combination of some of my favorite areas in this whole series. The red light shining onto the chasm is so cool. I really love this part. He then walks into a tunnel on the other side of a chasm before seeing some async employees. They call him to come over there, and they hatch a plan to drill a ladder to the floor and get the cameraman to cross a gap. After an absolutely terrifying crawling sequence, he luckily does make it across to the other side, and the next thing we see is the cart driving through lateral division, showing that, despite all odds, the cameraman actually managed to make it out the complex. We then see a presentation and hear,
"We would like to thank you all for staying over time to properly analyze and address the unexpected that happened today."
Yeah, this is the worst part about the video. The AI voice really gets rid of the emotion. Happy Egg, on the off chance you're watching this, I would totally be down to voice acting your videos. Anyways, it goes over everything we already assumed, and not much is really revealed. However, after the presentation finishes, it shows that the hallway from the chasm and Async's maintenance wing are visually identical. This sparks a huge discussion within the room, and the video ends on a cliffhanger. After this absolute peak was dropped, Happy Egg released another video, this one being somehow even more insane than the last. It begins with a VHS TV from Backrooms report showing various different media, all relating to the complex and, more importantly, life forms. We then hear a female voice talking about how they found a sample of hay bacillus on the cameraman's shoe from Chasm. After testing out various different ways of destroying it, Async discovers that fire removes all traces of it nearly instantly, showing that they now have a way to defeat life forms. We then see the door of the freight elevator open, before seeing a presentation telling people what to do today in the complex. Team 1's main goal is to attempt to locate the life form from motion detected, with the use of 3 different models of rovers. If they successfully locate it, then they will put the rovers back into their pre-existing positions. If Team B completes their assignment before them, then they will send a signal to Team A for them to come down and help. Team B will be comprised of 3 Lucas, Luke, Isaac, and DeMarcus, and all of them will be wearing fire protective suits and have flamethrowers for destroying the life forms. They will need to make their way to the same chasm and attempt to locate another life form. This time being the one in the office area. We then get a clip of 2 brief slides saying that if Team B completes their mission, then they will need to go down to the red neighborhood and attempt to kill the Marvin's friend life form. Another assignment is to help Team A with neutralizing the life form from motion detected. We then cut to footage of a shooting room and see one of the new rovers and how much light they can produce. The rovers get loaded onto the cart and they begin to explore the new sector of rooms. We see footage of the rovers exploring the new area before seeing Team B cross the chasm and into the area where the Red City and the chasm intersect. We cut back to the rovers for a bit before seeing the same set of rooms with the sleeping life form from last video. They proceed to flamethrower it to death. Like, Jesus Christ, I think that might be a bit much. We then cut back to Team B in the red neighborhood, and we see that all of the supplies that Async has sent down there. They also knock a board down to the tunnel, and they begin to venture down. They also say that from this point onwards, they will have no connection with either Team A or Standard. When they come out the other side, they see a big highway sign with a bunch of inverted text, and the road continues into more basic complex architecture. They come across the nest made by the Marvin's friend, and once again, they absolutely destroy it. Like, if Marvin's friend was alive previously, he is dead now. We see the rover's point of view again, and they've ended up in the area where the motion-detected lifeform came from. We see the rovers drive around to long tunnels a bit more before it eventually comes across another nest, this one having a bunch of vines all over the walls. So now Team A goes into the tunnel where the motion-detected lifeform came from, but then something strange happens with the rover. Out of nowhere, it gets pulled into the nest, and the connection suddenly severs. When Team A reach the nest, they become very confused as to where the rover is. When they contact Team B to find it, they say it's just right behind them, and they turn around to see that it is right behind them, resting on a ceiling tile. Out of nowhere, however, Luke gets impaled and gets pulled up into the ceiling from a lifeform tentacle. And then a lifeform pounces onto Isaac, and he screams at Marcus, telling him to run away. Marcus then proceeds to run away, but the hallway he came in now has a bunch of furniture haphazardly placed in it with no rhyme or reason. He calls in Team A and says that this is a scenario 188, whatever that could mean, before he gets... We then see security camera footage capturing the scenario 188, which shows 2 forklifts crashing into each other for whatever reason. The beat of Turn on the TV kicks in, and Marcus makes it back to the threshold and closes the blast door. He makes it through the threshold and tells the crew to close the threshold down now. They begin to close it before we turn around and see the lifeform ambush the outpost and eventually manages to grab the threshold barricade before it fully closes and pushes it back upwards. Marcus runs away as fast as he can, and a wall of fire is produced in the maintenance tunnel. Since Marcus is wearing a fireproof suit, he can run through the wall of fire just fine, leaving the lifeform trapped behind, and the video then ends. If I had a nickel for every time a Backrooms video with a lifeform escaping the complex released, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's strange that it happened twice. Crispy's videos have a very neat premise, and I feel like said premise really enhances these videos. So, in these videos, it's actually said that the old creepy video of a guy eating soup while crying from the old days of the internet, which is obviously blankroomsoup.avi, is actually located within the complex. I really like this idea, as those videos had, no explanation from the plot of them, aside from they involved a band of some sort. I don't really remember. The first video he made is Backrooms Exposure, which is a typical fan footage. We see cameraman no-clip into another fan footage 2-style set of rooms, before shortly coming across a more dilapidated room, and gets jump-scared by the fan footage 1 lifeform. He runs into a pool area, he climbs up a rope, and his fate is then left undetermined. The next videos are a 2-parter, which follow 2 people. The video begins with a voice talking to someone else about how a tape was just miraculously found within the complex. We then zoom into a missing persons poster before seeing the POV of a woman with a camcorder. She shows how there's a strange buzzing sound coming from her basement before hearing a clatter nearby. She walks to it and discovers a null zone with some sort of lighting error on the floor, and shortly afterwards gets sucked in. She gets up and wanders around yet another found footage 2 style area before hearing a strange sound.
This doesn't make any sense.
She walks around a bit more and finds a store area with posters saying that the store is closing. She then finds a tilted crawl space in the room and goes out to the other side. She comes across some basic yellow complex rooms before going up a staircase into an art gallery-like area. She then finds a big empty room with blinding white light coming out of the windows. We then see a kid's birthday party-like area, and then comes into some sort of replicated house, similar to that of found footage 3. She then hears some kind of sobbing coming around nearby. And slowly makes her way towards it, going into a white-walled area. She hears the sobbing getting louder, and as she turns the corner, we see someone's hunched over a bench. We then see the Ray Ray fellow from the Blank Room Soup video comforting him, before the Ray Ray spots her and runs towards her. Now, once again, this is a good opportunity to say that I love the idea that Blank Room Soup and Backrooms are connected. I really love how it's done in this video. The Ray Ray also perfectly fit in the pantheon of complex creatures, and it kind of feels like the Complex's next attempt at creating a human after still life. Anyways, we cut back to the girl running from the Ray Ray, and we hear a lot of cluttering in the background, showing that the Ray Ray are very insistent on catching her, no matter how much damage it causes to the area nearby. She unfortunately then gets cornered, and starts getting very, very scared, before we get some sort of hallucination of the Blank Room Soup room, before then seeing her eat soup in the room while sobbing. The video then ends. The next video is a follow-up to this video. We zoom into the complex, showing the security camera footage of the man eating the soup before the woman finds them. We hear the girl nearby, and the Ray Ray immediately dart towards her. Luckily for the man, however, this means that he can now actually make it out, and we see him run out of the room and run into some strange rooms with a lot of height differences. He walks around a bit more before finding a school-like area. He then just sees a door leading to the outside world of all places. And the next thing we see is a conversation between the male and a phone call operator. The man talks about the complex and how he was terrified, but the operator attempts to disregard what the man is saying, but the man constantly tells the operator that this was real. However, the operator just continues to say that this was all an illusion in his mind and that he's not doing well mentally. The man responds that the Ray Ray touched him, whatever that could mean, and says that all the evidence is on the camera. The phone operator, for whatever reason, still attempts to disregard everything he's saying, but after a while, for whatever reason, the phone line begins to overheat, and smoke comes out of the machine, and then the video ends. The next videos are quite odd. The first two are both 20 seconds long Backrooms videos, showing a person wandering around a room, the second of which actually being the upstairs of Roner's furniture. The next video is some sort of Christmas celebration, with the entire video basically being a drug trip, and then it just stopped. To this day, Crispy hasn't returned, but I mean, what a way to go. So that's the video that took 3 months, huh? I hope it was worth the wait. I had to cut down on a bunch of what was included here because I did still want to release something relatively soon. But don't worry, as all the unfinished scripts for this video luckily have been moved on to part 2, because of course there's a part 2. Also, sorry for lying about the whole no more Backrooms thing. It's just my current hyperfixation, so I just couldn't not work on it, you know? When it comes to videos related to the movie, though, I honestly have no clue what I'm gonna do. My main idea is to start off a video about the still lives, as we got much more of an explanation on what they are, and then probably the review analysis mixture. So let's hope that comes out soon enough, hopefully. I don't really know how to end videos, so I'm assuming that editing me will put in a super funny clip. Like a really funny one, something I will laugh at. Like an actual hoot. It'll be hilarious funny. Mark my words.
Pennsylvania.